Welcome to my world, everyone. This is Like It or Not with Michael Lane, and Michael Lane is who I be. Now, I'm just gonna talk about this because I received 3 emails saying, "You're mighty quiet, Michael," about the shooting here in Chicago with Laquan McDonald being killed by police officer Jason Van Dyke. I want you all to just kind of take a look at this. Just check it out.
Good evening, Rob and Eric. It has been 400 days since the killing. The last few, though, the most filled with anticipation. Anticipation for this. October 20, 2014. 17-year-old Laquan McDonald walked down Pulaski. McDonald went to his right. Officer Van Dyke arrived from the left. On scene only seconds when he fires. 16 rounds at McDonald in about 14 seconds. We won't show that. And he was about to reload when another officer told him to stop. Outside Public Safety Headquarters, we saw Congressman Bobby Rush. He hadn't seen the video, wasn't sure he wanted to, then watched with us.
The cop just gets out.
I'm shocked, but I'm not shaken.
What?
Again, you have another instance of wanton police murder in this city. There's a pattern to this murder, and somebody's going to be held responsible.
At a press conference, there was a noted absence, the independent journalist who fought the city for the video's release. He says he was excluded, but tweeted me a question he wanted to ask, and we did.
Mr. Mayor, a question from Brandon Smith, the independent journalist who fought the city for the release of this video. He said he wasn't allowed into this press conference today. He wants to know, quote, will you move to reform the wider culture of policing that has led to 300 shootings in 5 years?
Mr. Mayor. But you know what? I'll talk about a culture thing in the Chicago Police Department. Since I got here, I've been talking about changing the culture of the Chicago Police Department in a positive fashion. There are some very good things about the Chicago Police Department that I found when I got here. We're building on those, and we're trying to revamp anything that's negative.
Anybody who is there to uphold the law cannot act like they're above the law.
All right. This murder was sponsored by... I'll get to that later. But as you see, already there's corruption. Already. Just the fact that this is the first cop, Chicago cop, ever in Chicago history to be charged with first-degree murder. A lot of people may be surprised with where I'm going to come from, where I'm going to hit off at. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. The cop shot the guy twice. He fell to the ground. The rest of the shots was when he was laying down. Let me get this out the way first. It's probably not a good idea to take PCP and be a knife-wielding robber. Let's just move that out the way. That's not a good idea. So next time, if anybody wants to think about taking PCP or any type of drugs, pick up a knife, commit crimes. Maybe you should hold off on that. But we also have to look at it this way. It was quite obvious that he was not walking, because you always hear that a lot in Chicago, that the person that was shot, that person that shot, he lunged towards me. He lunged towards me. Or they reached his gun out and they pointed the gun, even though there was 46 cops around. I know. I have a couple of relatives that were wrongfully murdered by cops here in Chicago. And it's not just because, well, they're my family. No, if they act stupid, and if they were living a dumb life, then okay, that's what you get out of that. But it wasn't the case. But it's not just because it's personal. But it's all over Chicago. It's been happening, y'all. Don't act like y'all don't know. Don't be like MCs. MCs act like they don't know. Y'all know this. The cop was wrong. And not only that, there's reports that came out that there was a cop that went into Burger King and deleted 15 files from the surveillance cameras that caught the shooting. Now look at the corruption. Look at the corruption. I'm going to talk about more of what should happen. I'm going to talk more about that later. But look at the situation. Look at this. This didn't happen yesterday. This didn't happen 2 days ago. This happened over a year ago. Over. And the day or the minutes leading up where the judge said, look, we're going to release it. You have to release this. Because they weren't going to release it. The minute they release it, about the day or hours before they released that, they charged him with murder. They charged this cop with murder. But he was still getting paid prior to that. He was working, doing desk duties. But he's still getting paid. And if that judge didn't make that ruling, he would not be sitting in jail. He would not be charged with anything. This is what goes on, man. It's more than just, come on, man. Come on, man. But it was plain to see that this cowardly cop, this terrible cop, who had 10 prior complaints, with he had no problem, no reprimand, no nothing. No reprimands, nothing. No punishments, nothing. But the dude was free to do what you gotta do. See, it's different here, man. But let me tell you who it's sponsored by. Because it's different here. You see all the black people complaining and fussing and bitching and moaning. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of crooked cops here in Chicago. There's a lot of great cops here, too. But there's some crooked cops here. But those crooked cops helped me leave the liberal plantation and at that time become a Republican. Now I'm not a Republican, I'm a conservative. But they're crooked ways. If you learn and you educate yourself, you realize that it is part of the system. It is part of the policies. It's the policies that is being created or being implemented by the Democratic Party. It's been going on for decades and decades and decades more. And the reason why it's continuing to go on for decades and decades and decades more is because you are the sponsors. Every vote, you sponsor it. Just like I said that about Cleveland. I mean, not Cleveland, Baltimore. I said that about Baltimore. And the same goes for here. We are so locked up in the liberal plantation, we don't even realize. We're asking people to step down. These people should step down. What's the point? If you ain't going to do nothing but vote for the same people with different names, who you going to blame? The Republican Party? The Tea Party? There's nobody here in Chicago that is outside of the liberals, of outside the Democratic Party. None. None. Not in Chicago. None. Tell me one that's sitting in a political seat, in the seat of power in Chicago, that is not a Democrat. Tell me. You know you can't tell me. You know you can't. Chicago has been run by nothing but Democrats. You black people have sponsored it. So instead of just protesting out there in downtown Chicago, Why don't you protest in your own neighborhoods? Go inside your own doors and get into the face of your mama and your father, or if you have one, your mothers, your aunties, or whoever, and get in their faces and say, why are you sponsoring the racist policies of the Democratic Party? And this murder was sponsored by you. And all those guilty white folks, like it or not. Like it or not.